Welcome everyone. Today we will discuss about MCQ on biostatistics. We will practice some question based on biostatistics, and by the time we will learn some topics which are very frequent in this chapter. So let's begin. Today we will be solving 1 to 20 questions. So the first question is the variables whose calculation is done according to the height, length and weight are categorized as discrete, flowchart, measuring, continuous variables. So with that we need to know what are variables. So variables, they can be categorized into categorical and numerical variable. Categorical variable is qualitative and numerical variable is quantitative. Okay. Categorical variable is further categorized into nominal and ordinal. Nominal are the unordered ones and the ordinal are the ordered ones. Under nominal, it's like the gender, whether it's male or female, whether the person is smoker or non-smoker, to which race the person belongs to. So these are under nominal variable. Under ordinal variable, say for example the performance of the student. Okay, the stage of the cancer. So after stage 1, stage 2 will come. After stage 2, stage 3 will come. Performance, it's like grade A, then B, then C. So they are ordered variable. Okay. Now under numerical, it's quantitative. Quantitative can be discrete or continuous. Discrete, the number which can be countable. Okay. The number which is counted is discrete. So whenever any question is given to you, ask yourself whether it can be counted or it can be measured. So if it's counted, it's a discrete variable. If it's measured, it's a continuous variable. So what is continuous variable? It can take any value within a range. So say for example height in centimeter, pocket depth in millimeter, the age of students in classroom. So they can be measured. Okay. So if we go back to the question, so height, length and weight, so they are measured. So this is a continuous variable. Let's go to question number 2. So here also this chart explains that variable can be quantitative, which is numerical, or it can be categorical, which is qualitative. Okay, quantitative include continuous, which can be measured, and it includes discrete, which can be counted. Okay, ordinal, which are ordered, and nominal, which are unordered. Second question is the scale applied in statistics which imparts a difference of magnitude and proportion is considered as. So let's look at what is the ratio scale. So when we are studying variable, we need to know that as we are moving towards the ratio scale, okay, in the ratio scale, the information is the highest. So see here, in the nominal variable, we know only different categories. So if we are needed to make a chart about the data provided by a student or a person, if we know about nominal variable, that means we know about different categories, whether what is the gender of the person, like what is the race of the person, to what religion the person belongs to. We know this nominal data. When we are writing ordinal data, that means we are ordering, we know the order now. We know the category, we know the order. Category in which order? interval scale, here we also know about the sizes of the differences, and in the ratio scale we include all the first three plus the ratio. Okay, so magnitude and proportion, as we all know from the childhood that magnitude and proportion is related to the ratio scale. So number C will be the correct answer. Which statistical test is used to compare group means in a sample? So remember, to compare group means in a sample, we use ANOVA. Mode is done. So we all know about the central tendency, mean, median and mode. So among mean, median and mode, the mode is the most frequent value in the given data. So say for example 7, 8, 7, 7, 6, 5, 7, 7. So most frequent data here is what? 7. So what is the mode here? 7. Okay. So C will be the correct answer. One of the methods for determining mode is, so this is a very common question asked in many exams, like what is the formula or what is the relation between mode, median and mean. So please remember, mode is equals to 3 median minus 2 mean. Okay, 3 median minus 2 mean. Next question, what is the arithmetic mean of the data 4, 5, 0, 10, 8 and 3? So arithmetic mean is very simple one, just we have to find the average. So here there are how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 numbers are there. So we need to divide the sum by 6. So arithmetic mean is equals to, we have to do the sum. So 4, 5, 0, 10, 8, 3 by 6 numbers are there. We need to divide it by 6 is equals to, the sum is 30 by 6 is equals to 5. So here the mean is 5. Answer is B. Next question. Which of the following cannot be the probability of an event? So we need to know that the probability of an event lies between 0 to 1. The probability of an event is always between 0 and 1. Okay, where 0 and 1 are also included. Please remember this. So 0 can be there, 0.3 can be there, 0.9 can be there, but it cannot be greater than 1. So D will be our correct answer. Clear? Question number 8. If a random variable x has a normal distribution, so x is having the normal distribution. Then e to the power x. So we all know when it's e to the power x, then it's log. Okay. So x is normal, then e to the power x will be log normal. Okay. So what is log normal distribution? So log normal distribution is a probability distribution whose logarithm is normally distributed. Whose logarithm is normally distributed. Okay. So e to the power means whose logarithm is normally distributed. So here if x is the normal distribution, then we can say that y is equals to ln x is normal. Okay. So if y is normal, then if y is normal, if we can say that if y is normal, then then x is equals to e to the power y is log normal. So what I said, that if x is normal and if we put it e to the power x, then it becomes log normal. Similarly, if y is a normal distribution, then if we put e to the power y, then it is log normal distribution. Okay, so A will be the correct answer. Next question is, what is the geometric mean of 1, 2, 8 and 16? We did arithmetic mean. Now what is the geometric mean? So geometric mean has a formula, is equals to, so whatever number is given, we need to multiply those numbers. Now how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3 and 4 numbers are there to the power of 1 by 4. Okay, so the numbers given will be multiplied to the power 1 by n. N will be the number of terms given. Okay, so total will be, if we multiply, the answer will be 256, where 256 by 256 to the power 1 by 4. Okay, so if we make 4 to the power 4 is 256 into 1 by 4. So 4 here, 4 will be cancelled. Okay, so 4 will be our answer. Next question. The arithmetic mean of all possible outcome is known as. So when we find out the arithmetic mean of all possible outcome, it is an expected value. Okay, so expected value means it is the arithmetic value of all possible outcomes of a random variable. Okay. Next question, which one of the following cannot be the value of correlation coefficient? So we need to know that the value of correlation coefficient lies between -1 and +1. Okay, where -1 and +1 are included. Where -1 and +1 are included. So the value of correlation coefficient lies between -1 and +1, where -1 and +1 are also included. So this is included, this is also, but it cannot be more than 1. So D will be our correct answer. Now this is a formula based question. Variance x is equals to, so VAR x is equals to, we have to just learn the formula x square, where the square is inside the bracket, and here x square will be outside the bracket. So just we have to learn the formula over here, and this is same with number D. Again, this is a formula based one. VAR x plus y is equals to, it will be VAR x plus variance y plus 2 CO, coefficient of variation, xy. Okay, C is the correct answer. Now the next question is, what is the variance of the data this? So what we calculate till now, we have calculated arithmetic mean, we have calculated geometric mean. Now comes how we need to calculate the variance. So to calculate the variance, we need to find out the mean first. We now know how to find out the mean. We have to find out the sum. How many numbers are there? 5 numbers are there. So we need to divide the total by 5. So total comes as 25 by 5 is equals to 5. So what is the mean? Mean is 5. Now how to find the variance? So variance is we have to subtract this mean from each of the numbers given. Okay, how we will do that? Say for example 2 minus 5 whole square, so that our answer won't be negative. Okay, so plus, then the second number is 10 minus mean whole square, plus 1 minus 5 whole square, plus 9 minus 5 whole square, plus 3 minus 5 whole square. Okay, by the mean. Okay, so we will subtract the mean from each of the numbers given, and then we will square that number by the mean. Okay, so it will come as 17.5. Okay, so B will be our correct answer. Next question is failing to reject the null hypothesis when it is false. So failing to reject the null hypothesis when it is false. So even when the outcome is false, still we are not rejecting it. Okay, so I would like to explain this type 1, type 2 error first, then we will come to the conclusion. So see here. So what is type 1 error? Type 1 error is, say for example, we are saying a male that you are pregnant. So which is not at all possible. Okay. Type 2 error is we are saying a pregnant lady that you are not pregnant, which is also not possible. Okay. So see here. What is true positive? What do we mean by true positive? True positive means we are saying a pregnant lady that you are pregnant. So it is true and it is positive. Okay. True negative is what? You are not pregnant. True negative means this is acceptable and he is saying the truth. Clear? Now coming to type 1 and type 2 error. Type 1 error is false positive. You are pregnant. Now this cannot happen. Okay, this is completely false. But he is saying that you are. Okay, so this is false positive. Actually, it is not true. Okay, but he is saying that you are pregnant, so this is false positive, and you are not pregnant. He is saying a pregnant lady that you are not pregnant, so this is kind of type 2 error, which is false negative. Okay, so here we have to understand it in two ways. Either the null hypothesis can be true or null hypothesis can be false. Either we reject the null hypothesis or we do not reject the null hypothesis. So when we reject the null hypothesis when it is false, so here it comes here. So when we reject the null hypothesis when it is false, then it is the correct decision. Okay, when we are rejecting it when it is false, it's a correct decision. Okay, and when the null hypothesis is true and we are not rejecting it, then also it's a correct decision. Okay, but here again, if we are rejecting the null hypothesis, even when it is true, if we are rejecting the null hypothesis, even when it is true, it is type 1 error. Okay, when it is true, then also we are rejecting it. Okay, then it is a type 1 error. Again, when it is false, still we are not rejecting it, then it is a type 2 error. Okay. So in type 1 error, we can say that there is an effect. In type 1 error, we can say that there is an effect when the effect is actually not present. Here we are saying that the old man is pregnant but he is actually not. So there is an effect but there is actually no effect. So this is type 1 error. But in type 2 error, it is saying that is where we fail to find an effect. Type 2 is we fail to find an effect when the effect is actually existing. Okay, so type 2 error is when we fail to find the effect when the effect is actually existing, and in type 1 error is where we say that the effect exists but actually there is no effect. Okay, so here if we come back to the question, failing to reject the null hypothesis means, so failing to reject null hypothesis means we are failing to find the effect when it exists. Okay, that means we are failing to the reject the null hypothesis. Means even when null hypothesis is false, we are not rejecting the null hypothesis. So this is a type 2 error. Type 2 error is when we do not reject the null hypothesis, when we do not reject the null hypothesis, okay, even when null hypothesis is false. Okay, similarly what type 1 is, type 1 is we are accepting the null hypothesis, oh sorry, we are rejecting it, we are rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. So rejection when true and not no rejection when false. Okay, so no rejection when it is false is type 2 error. Question number 16. When asked questions concerning personal hygiene, people commonly lie. They do not give the true information. This is an example of. So before going to the final answer, I would like to tell you about what are about these bias. So sampling bias. So sampling bias is occurring from using non-random samples. When we use non-random samples, then sampling bias occurs. Okay. What is confounding? Confounding is when the risk factor is mixed up. When the risk factor being studied is mixed up with other risk factors. It is mixed up with other risk factors. Okay, as a result of which the single effect is very difficult to distinguish. Single effect of one risk factor is difficult to distinguish. Okay, now what about the non-response bias? Non-response bias is when in a survey large number of people do not participate or do not respond to the survey. They do not participate or respond. Okay, they do not participate or fail to respond is non-response bias. But what about response bias? It occurs when a person gives misleading information or the incorrect information about their personal health or hygiene. Okay, so when they lie, it's a misleading information, it's a kind of response bias. Next question is when the correlation coefficient, which is denoted by R, is close to 1. So we know that it is between -1 to +1. Okay. So when it is close to 1, it tells us about that there is a strong linear relationship between the two variables. If the relationship is close to 1, there is a strong linear relationship between those two variables. So answer will be B. Question number 18 is the intercept in the linear regression represents. So in a linear regression, the expected mean y value, so regression represents the expected mean y value when the x is 0. Next question is The mean of a distribution is 23 and the median is 24 and the mode is 25.5. It is most likely that the distribution is positively skewed, symmetrical, asymptotic, negatively skewed. So here answer will be negatively skewed. Why? Because the mean here, the mean is 23. So mean is likely to be less than the mode and median. So if you can see here that mean is 23, median is 24 and mode is 25.5. Okay, so here we can see that mean is the least value, so the curve will look somewhat like this. Okay, three values will be there. Here it will be mean, then it will be median, then it will be mode. Okay, so if mean is the least, then it is the negatively skewed. What about positively skewed? Here for positively skewed, here we can see. So for positively skewed, mean will be having the highest value. Then it will be positive skewed. So it will look like this. If this is the negative part, this will be the positive one. Okay, where the mean will have the highest value. Okay, median, mode. So if it's lowest, then it is negatively skewed. If the mean is highest, then it is positively skewed. Next question. Primary data and dash data are same. So primary data and ungrouped data are same. Secondary data and grouped data are same. Okay, so primary data and ungrouped data are same. So C will be our correct option. So if this video has helped you, please like and subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will get the notification when the new videos will be uploaded. So like and share it for more videos. Thank you. See you again.